Can you see this? Hey everybody, it's Jen with Moss Building and Design. I'm here with Ryan Pettit, one of our lead carpenters. And we're actually going to wait a few seconds here and see if we can get some people to join us since we're just kicking this off now. But I did want to welcome everybody to our HandyPRO workshop for today, our HandyPRO happy hour, if you will. So if you'd like to pour yourself a glass of wine and settle in for the next hour as we talk about doors, that'd be great. You can join us. If you don't know that much about Moss, we are a family-owned residential remodeling company. We've been in business here in Northern Virginia for about 20 years, and we love to bring workshops like these to the community. We've been doing this for years, and now we're reinventing these as live workshops. Since we're all at home a little bit more, all of our offices working from home as much as possible. I just want to reassure everybody that we are in a very safe, secure, healthy, and sanitized environment here at our office. It's actually empty besides the two of us and our cameraman. So we are doing everything we can to maintain the social distance. And if you'll see me leaving the screen occasionally when Ryan is speaking and demonstrating, it's simply to maintain our 6-foot distance between us. So I just want to reassure everybody about our health and safety standards that we maintain at Moss at all times. So I think without any further ado, we will start. Today's HandyPRO workshop is about doors, your interior and your exterior doors. And actually, I was inspired to bring this idea up to our team because as we were having a virtual meeting, of course, as we've all been doing lately, I thought, you know what, we're all at home a lot, looking at our doors, trying to keep the kids out if you're in a meeting, or figuring out how to unlock it if they've locked themselves in because they don't want to attend their online distance learning. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun and interesting to teach people how to do more things with their doors? So we kind of developed this program. So thanks for coming along and sticking with us as we figure this out every step of this new kind of semi-normal life that we've got with everything we've got. So that was a redundant statement. I just said the same thing twice. But hey, we're not going anywhere.
I heard it both times.
Ryan and I worked together for a long time. He's a great guy, and he knows a lot. So I'm going to be helping to facilitate this and be the hostess with the mostess, but Ryan is the star of the show. Oh, very humble, of course. So how are we going to kick this off? We're going to talk about...
Well, I think we can just illustrate these are two different door types. And this is an interior door, and this is an exterior door. The main difference between them is typically the interior doors are made of a lighter material, and they're a little bit thinner. They're in their thickness. 1 3/8 versus 1 3/4. That's not something a homeowner needs to know every day, but knowing that this is a weather-rated doors to keep the energy in your thermal of your house. Also, they're designed to withstand the weather. This is a fur door here, and if it was never finished with a coat of clear or paint or anything, it would go ahead and rot itself into the earth as quick as it could. So that's one main difference about exterior doors, the type of finish you put on it. We can talk about that at the end.
Oh, okay, great.
So I think just kind of talking about the interior versus the exterior, the main obvious feature is the boring, okay? You have one bore on the interior door, typically 2 bores on the outside door. And that's because if we only have our single lever on the inside, people can break in real quick. And we like to have the deadbolts, and we'll talk about that when we get to that point. But oftentimes the style of doors change through the seasons or through our taste, right? So we want a simple thing anybody can do is go to the store and pick up some door hardware. But I think when you open your packet, maybe it would help if we showed you how we do it.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
Should I start?
Please do, yes. And just also, Ryan's going to go ahead and explain also what tools are needed in addition to the package of materials.
There are all kinds of door hardware on the market. The best one's Baldwin, in my opinion.
Yep.
So if you really want to upgrade and are willing to spend extra price, Baldwin is the way to go. They're usually solid brass hardware, and carpenters love installing them. It's just like, it's like a nice dinner, at a nice restaurant. But your Schlage and your Kwikset are your other alternate brands, and there's nothing really different between them. So, and the profiles are very similar too. So Schlage and Kwikset are an easy switch off, especially if you got 20 different sets in the house or something you want to switch, The nice thing about Kwikset, and this is just a cheap demonstration brand, so we don't even need to tell you what it is. But Kwikset's got a fast key change, which is an important feature, right? So for your exterior locks, you can take your existing key that you had and you can switch it really quickly. And it says it right there on the packaging and the advertisement of it. So keep an eye out for that for Kwikset. It's a good one to probably pick up unless you want to get the Baldwin.
Cool.
So The tools.
What's the price range for these sort of things?
These sets are around 20 to 25.
Okay.
You know, per unit. Your exterior sets are going to be more expensive because they have more components in them. And
Sure.
But you know, around 18 bucks, I think. Is
Oh,
what it
okay.
is, you know.
Great.
So,
All right. Wait, so you want to get started on that?
So
All right.
we'll talk about our parts and pieces. in
Oh,
here.
sure. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
It's
It's
okay.
excited.
I forgot where I was at. So your first piece, and we'll just kind of do it in the order we put it in, right? If I stand there talking to you at your house.
Yeah, I can't. Oh, I can go behind and help hold it up.
Okay.
Okay.
So, first thing we're going to do, hopefully you have a battery drill in your house, because if you're going to handle any projects at home, the first thing you should go get is a nice battery drill. Milwaukee's a good brand, but you don't have to get the Milwaukee or the nicer brands. You can get the Ryobi or something. And you're also going to have, typically, a Phillips head screwdriver. Now, I've got an 11 in one.
Okay.
It's got all the different shapes on it. We'll only use the one.
It's fancy.
Yeah.
Well, he is a lead
And
carpenter.
I also bought that from the electric section.
Oh.
Just so everybody wants to know. So, I don't know how well you're zooming in. So this is the first latch.
Okay.
And most of the doors are bored out for the shape of the latch when they come from the factory.
Okay.
If there's a situation where yours is a little bit different shape, you can take a chisel and a little hammer or a utility knife, which I'm sure every homeowner has in their pocket just like me. And you just carve it out or use your chisel, and you have to modify the wood a little bit.
Okay.
And that's where the nice little craftsmanship comes in. You know, that's where we got to make it pretty. But if you ding it up a little bit, we'll show you how to fix that too. So it's pretty simple. The most important thing though, once we get the first part in, is we do want to do this technique called pre-drilling.
Oh.
I happen to have 2 drills, and this one has a drill bit already in it.
Okay.
And the reason we pre-drill,
It's kind of like set it, kind of hold.
well, I've done it about 1.5 million times. So only about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. It doesn't have to go in very far.
Okay.
And all we're doing in this instance is preventing the wood of the outside of the door from splitting. Because how many times, you put your nice hardware on the door and you split the door all up, and you got to caulk it quick before they see it. That's not something Moss does. So we pre-drill first. Now, a lot of times when I get into my packs of my hardware, since we're kind of working on the camera today, I put it all on the floor and lay it out. Before I even start, I try to understand every part. There's the old adage that you're not supposed to read the instructions. I don't know where that came from. Do you know where that came from?
No, I mean, I
And
find
that's not a learning
instructions.
question.
No, I always assume that instructions are just a suggestion.
No, see, I don't think they are. I
Like a
think-
recipe.
I think there's people with companies that spend time writing instructions. And they're usually in
Oh,
the
that's
box.
their job.
Yes, they
Oh.
got paid to do it, just like we do.
I really should pay more attention to things like that,
So
probably.
the best way to eliminate confusion isn't always the YouTube video. It's the instructions that come in the box. And so I lay all my parts on the ground and I look at my instructions. I don't care what the project manager says, because I want to do it right the first time. So
Oh.
that was pretty simple. Now we got our latch ready to roll. Now I'm not going to shut it because then I got to break in, which we'll show that later on in the burglary part of the episode. So here's your handle
You okay?
set. Yeah.
You got it? All right. And if it falls, it falls. We'll pick it up. Oh, okay.
So 2 parts, they go together. I guess the one thing to think about is which side is. So this is an exterior set, and it has the keyhole on the one side. But we're doing it on an interior door because we're trying to confuse you as much as possible. And you just got to decide which side your latch is going to be on. Typically on an interior set, it's going to have a non-active handle. It
Okay.
has a little poke hole that you put the barbecue skewer in there. That's the pro trick. If your kids lock the bathroom door, go grab a barbecue
Oh.
skewer, and it'll pop right out. So even if you got to steal one, but
We
they're
have
more
those
dangerous.
things that came with the house, but they constantly get lost.
Yeah,
So
they
then I
do.
use a safety pin and then I stab myself.
Yeah.
So,
Safety pin works too.
I-
But that barbecue skewer, because everybody likes shish kebabs.
Right.
I
Oh.
like pineapple and steak and onions. And
Can we
green
place an
peppers.
order for that? Someone? Yeah, we got that. We'll
So
get
the
that
shish
for
kebab
after.
skewers, which is coming after the program,
Cooking
is how you
show.
break into those doors.
That'll be our next HandyPRO. Will be Ryan cooking.
Now that's Snoop. Snoop and Martha.
I totally forgot to, I don't want to interrupt you, but I forgot to mention and remind everybody that please stay tuned for the entire broadcast because we are doing the drawing for the Bro Vineyards gift basket, and that'll be done at the end. So definitely stay tuned. You have to have had pre-registered, but you can actually go ahead and register right now. The link was dropped into the comments and or on this page. So go ahead and register right now. All right, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to back up
was
just a
good.
little bit just to give you a little more space here.
I was thinking about something else anyway.
Okay, great.
So typically, since we read the instructions, we find that our longer bolts are the ones that put this disassembly part here together, the 2 knobs. And on most of these door sets, for your reference, they are pretty much the same assembly. Now your fancy Baldwins, they could be anything, but they're a good challenge if you're going to go that way. You might want to hire a Moss carpenter now.
And you can do that very easily with our easy quote. If you ever need anything from Moss, we're going to send the link in for that as well. Door replacement, any kind of change, things like hardware, things like that. You can always contact us with our easy quote system, which again, it's either on our website or the link will be here too.
So the most important part, what I did was line up my mounting holes in the door hardware. You can see this is where the screws are going from this side, and there's a receiving end. It's not coming out super pretty and fast. But I can't just willy-nilly throw it together. I got to make sure everything's lining up the way I want. So, and it's okay to take your time, because changing your door hardware doesn't have to be done in 15 minutes.
Well, we got some time these days.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
some people.
Well, some people, you're right.
Now, I don't go fast with the drill on this. I just start kind of feeling
Okay.
it in there until I get it right. I got too much stuff in my hand. I'm not used to working with these fancy gloves. But this is normal. You got to kind of feel it,
Okay.
the seat in there about right. Sometimes you can take it apart a little bit. There you go. Sometimes you can talk to it. See, come on. I know.
Like talking to our plants.
Yeah, I was talking to my plants this morning.
Oh, great.
The baby seeds aren't looking so great.
Oh, no.
All right, so what's throwing me off on this one? This is a good
Okay.
example.
Oh,
So this screw is not going in straight with the knob here on this part, and that's okay. What we're going to do there is kind of work the knob out a little bit. So that way we can kind of land the screw in there a little bit easier. So you do got to play with it a little bit.
if anybody has any questions during the, I keep on saying broadcast, during the live presentation and live workshop, please drop them in the comments. We have really good people out in the field following along and are able to help answer questions you have, or just, if you want to private message us at any point and give us your email address, and we will, follow up with any questions you have specifically. And then for anybody who's pre-registered, we'll be sending out a list of kind of frequently asked questions, FAQs, or just some how-tos, instructions on how some of these simple home fixes. So you can keep an eye out for that for your email as well. So
since we're back from commercial,
Oh.
and I'm still fumbling with this, I want everybody to feel real confident about their try.
I feel great. I feel great. Yep.
But I think patience, sadly, is that really great attribute.
It is. It is. Oh. Now is it going in?
Yeah, it wants to. They say it's never the machine, it's always the mechanic.
Pesky little
Yeah, this is
pesky little guy.
This is the cheap set.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
since we're not looking great on camera today,
You look great.
thank you.
You're
So
welcome. Thanks.
That's essentially the idea when we put the hardware on.
So basically, you just put it together. A and B.
Well, you read the instructions, and if you noticed, I didn't.
Yes. Oh,
That's
Ryan
exactly what went wrong today.
did that on purpose to teach us a lesson. This is good. It's important to,
Maybe the lesson is that a carpenter sometimes messes it up too. Maybe that's what makes us good.
That's right. Absolutely.
But actually, this is a cool thing to show on camera, because this is
Yeah.
this is where it starts to get kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Trying to get some different types of hardwares do go together
Okay.
easier than others.
And you said that the doorknobs for exterior doors are higher end because they have to be is that right? They have to be higher quality
Well,
because you
not necessarily higher quality.
Oh, okay.
But so I just realized what I'm doing wrong, everybody. This is great. I love this on Facebook. No, for real, it's important.
I think we're also on a couple of other channels, but
since-
we're just
Oh, sorry. Do we have to say those?
No, we don't have to. No. So what is it?
I took the wrong screws out of the bag because I didn't say
You
it all out
line
because
up
I
these
was setting up.
things.
So these bigger ones are for the deadbolt, and the little ones are for the door hardware. And that's why I was fighting it. And so it just comes back to my point about laying all your parts out on the ground first, so you know what you're working on.
My problem is I always order pretty cheap things, and the instructions are just a bunch of pictures, and you look at them and you're like, I think that's how it goes, and then I do it sort of wrong, and it kind of falls apart, and then it has to be fixed. So, welcome to how my mind works. I'm not patient. I need to be more patient.
You seem patient with me right now.
Oh well, that's because I'm not teaching you distance learning at home. That'll start next week.
So that
We'll
is
see.
really the amazing point, other than distance learning,
Yes.
is that you got to know which parts got to go where.
Yeah.
So that was exactly what was going wrong. So I promise you, all are gonna be laughing when you're doing it, and you got the wrong screws in the thing.
So tempted to make an off-color joke. I won't.
So this is where I stand up finally,
Okay.
and I usually use my my hand screwdriver to thread these in. Because if I
Okay.
use my drill, a lot of times I might get the metal messed up.
Yeah.
So I just use this one. That's so funny.
Can I slam the door now dramatically?
Yeah.
Awesome.
But
I'm just kidding.
Before we do that, we need to tell everybody this is still a set.
I know.
It's in somebody's house.
That's true.
So if you ever saw the Muppet movie where they all sing Rainbow Connection and the walls all fall down,
Oh.
that's what would happen here. By the way, I used to work at Tuskey's in Leesburg,
Oh.
and one day I had a dream that we all were on there working. I was like 18, and then everybody started singing Rainbow Connection just like the daggone movie. I woke up and I said, that's a hell of a dream. So there you go.
All right.
So that's step one. Door shuts nice and tight.
Okay,
We
good.
can slam it if we want to.
No, I'm not going to slam it.
Then you got your catch. Now this is the most important one for everybody's going to try to switch these out, which you should because it's probably got a lot of paint and stuff on it. But this is where when you put it on, the adjustment of it can go back and forth. And I think the most important thing I say to anybody today is don't be afraid to not have it seat exactly in the wooden, the pre-cut wood part. If you got to move it around, you got to move it around. And I'll show you a trick to fix that.
So you just drilled it just a little bit.
That was a pre-drill.
The pre-drill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we put that on the screen, please? Pre-drill. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
But that's important. And it's not just for hardware that we want to pre-drill things. Anytime you're screwing wood into wood.
You want to give it a little bit of
you
a.
wanna- Yep. And sometimes, and most of the time on the piece that the screw's going through first,
Right.
you want to pre-drill it all the way so none of the threads touch it. But the piece that it's going into, especially if it's a nicer piece, you would want to pre-drill the thickness of the shaft, not the threads. Now, that's another pro tip. We're going to have that one and some good pictures and everything for you
Yeah.
on the next one.
So obviously you've done this a million times, but
I don't know.
well,
I think this was my first one.
if I were at home, I'd be nervous that I didn't have. Did you in the right? Did we already talk about that?
No, that's great. It's exactly right.
Okay, because I was
And
like, should I get a
that's kinda
measuring
what I was
tape?
alluding
Okay,
to, right?
right.
And so this one just happened to work nice and clean. So then we can.
So you're a pro.
We move right on to the next. But what would happen if it's not lined up?
Yeah.
What you do, you want to be comfortable to move it up and down or in and out. And I'll show you another little quick trick.
Okay.
This is an important one too.
Oh.
You can pull it right off, right?
Okay.
And so if the door, you do want your door when it shuts to kind of feel snug. It can't be all wobbly and banging around in the door. So
Right.
right. But right now it's shutting pretty snug. But if it's really loose, you can take this part of the brass or whatever's satin nickel. Take your hammer and just tap it out and put a little angle on it, and that'll be a 1/4 inch or less, and that'll be enough to get that door tight.
Okay.
So if the door is really loose and you want to tighten it up, that's a real simple way to get it tightened up without having to adjust the whole thing.
Okay.
The problem is if it's not latching, you've got to pull it out.
Oh.
And that's when you got to get the other drill bits out.
Okay.
Or the chisel if you got one, and start kind of working on the hole there. But that's a good,
Oh.
but I think the most important thing is patience
Yeah.
and confidence. And if you don't give up, you might get it done.
I'm gonna put that on a shirt. If you don't give up, you might get it done.
You might get it done.
Put that as a new hashtag.
I like it. What's next on our list?
Oh, so you had mentioned something about a hinge stop,
Hinge stop.
and I have no idea what that is
Oh.
because I know what a door stop is, which
Does anybody ever trip on them and it makes a funny noise?
well, my children just yes, that one also, and then they also like to slam the door
Does
into
anybody
it.
have toddlers that play it all day
Yes,
long?
dung 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 dung. That one. I used to do a cappella. I can make those noises. Aka.
So, pretty much 2 types of stops.
Okay.
And the main reason we use stops isn't so the door opens and it bumps somebody in the head. It's so the handle doesn't hit the wall and have a drywall damage, right? Because that's
Right.
not on this workshop. It's fixing drywall.
No, but I can do that workshop.
So you have your door, you have your door stop and your hinge stop, right? And these are going to go down on the base. Now this one I like because you can use. They're kind of tricky because you would want to pre-drill it too, but sometimes they're hard to thread in, even for somebody that got strong arms. But this one's got a nice little channel lock that you could put your pliers on there and thread it in, so it's good. Now it's not the spring one, so it doesn't make the
Okay.
noise.
Oh, okay.
But somebody was talking about these getting eaten by all the dogs
Oh, that too.
and
Okay.
kids, and I didn't come up with a solution for that other than super glue.
Oh,
So
okay.
if anybody's having a problem with the little white caps getting eaten by the kids and the dogs, get some super glue. And put it on
Awesome.
there.
All right. So, go ahead. Carry on.
So these would
Yes.
go. So you would want to orient these on the base. Not that we're going to demo because we don't have any base.
Yeah.
Somewhere about where the door hits, right in that area.
Okay.
And the nice thing about the base stops is typical. If you want the door to open up 180 degrees,
Okay.
right? So if the door is in a plane like this,
Right.
and you want to open it all the way, that's when you want your base stop.
Okay.
When you want that door to open all the way, you don't got a choice. You got to use base stop.
Okay.
But if the door can just open up 90 degrees, then we do our hinge stop.
And but not to interrupt you, but that's what that is. Oh, that's what that is. I had no idea it had
Well,
a
I
real
was getting
name.
to the hinge
I'm
stop,
sorry.
But I wanted
Yeah.
to start with the base
Okay.
stop.
That's pretty easy to install.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to pre-drill it now.
Oh, the pre-drill.
So
Okay.
you got your
Carry
drills
on.
though, because you
So
went to the store and got your drills.
that's right. So now this is a hinge stop, which I didn't know what that was, but now I know what it is.
Hinge
So,
stop.
okay.
And if you look, now there's a debate if you use one or two. So
like, what do you mean?
Well,
Like-
you can use one at the top and one at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And I always just do one. But some people say it needs to be two.
Why is it? Why do you?
Because it works a little better. Now, if you've ever wondered how to get your hinge pin out, most of the doors, some of the houses you can't do it this way, but probably 70, 90% of them you can.
Okay.
You just take a little nail set
Yep.
or something,
Okay.
something there, or almost you could probably use the skewer.
The
Not
barbecue
wooden
skewer.
one, though.
Yeah.
And you just tap it up.
Is this how we take the hinges off?
Nope. This
Oh,
is how we take
so-
our hinge stops.
I'm so excited. I'm getting ahead of myself.
But
All right.
it's also how we could remove a door too. If we didn't want,
Right.
if we didn't want to take all the hinges off, and we wanted to get a door out of the way.
Like
for
for furniture.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need that extra little clearance.
Right.
So you would just simply,
Ah.
and if you do that, I would do the bottom ones first, and then I do the top one last.
That makes sense.
Did you put that on the notes on the thing too on the side where the notes are at? Do the bottom two first, and then the top.
Right. And you should always, maybe in that circumstance, if you're not a professional, work with a family member.
The reason, well,
For safety-
I mean, it's a hollow core door. Like,
I
here's
know.
the thing: if you do the top first and you work your way down, then
Right.
the door is going to fall on you while you're down on your knees.
Right.
So that's why I say it's a good advice. Just make sure it's written on the screen so they can reference it.
So start from the bottom, work up.
Now, I don't know, because I never read the instructions, if this is supposed to be, and all my carpenter friends that are going to watch this video are going to make fun of me. But I always say that the screw part goes to the casing,
Okay.
and this flat part goes to the door. And the main
Okay.
reason is that this is a bigger surface area, and if you ever got a little hole in your door where that hinge stop poked a hole in it, 'cause
Right.
I've had to repair those before.
Oh. So is a hinge stop the same thing as a door stop? I mean, essentially,
they're all door stops.
it's just that why would you choose this? Because it's
Because then it's not on the base trim. Some people got that pretty nice
Okay.
flat
that makes sense.
base,
Okay.
and they're really proud of their base, and they go through and they wipe it down and clean it. That's what I do at my house.
Sure. I'm constantly cleaning my
Base trim.
base trim.
But it looks good, and
Yeah.
it's nice when you do clean it.
Yeah, I'm not.
So, it
Don't
just-
actually clean very.
so really what it is,
Okay.
these are when you don't need the door to open all the way.
Ah.
Because the main reason
Okay.
we're putting these on doors is to prevent the drywall damage on the doors. So if you
Okay.
got plaster walls, it probably doesn't matter. But those are the Arlington people. I don't have them on the website today.
Yeah. Then who knows?
So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
it. So this is 90 degrees,
Okay.
and that's 180 degrees. And that's
That covers our stops.
Yep.
Okay. Some other things we thought about talking about was we talked about taking off the hinges, but we
show
just
you.
talked about that.
Taking off the hinges is pretty easy.
Okay.
You just open your door up,
Okay. Oh, okay. Really?
and you take your drill.
Do we need to?
I'm not going to take them off.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay.
And I usually just take them off from the jamb, not the door. I'll leave them on. I'll leave them on the door. But now the nice thing about leaving the hinges on there is that when you put it back, put the door back on. Do we have time to show that, or is it worth it?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean,
because so all you gotta do is unscrew it from the bottom, undo the bottom one, undo the middle one, leave the top one on first, so the door don't go flying off.
Right.
Right now you got it. You're up here and you leave the one screw last because it's 3 screws, right?
Right.
So you take 2 screws out and leave the one. And that door is gonna stay there until you take that screw out.
Okay.
And then you got to know whether it's a heavy door like this or if it's a light door. So if you're not prepared for it to be a heavy door and you got your pretty 4 1/4 hickory on the floor, you know.
Yeah. So. I'm just checking our time. No rush.
Well, I've been rambling on.
Oh no, you haven't. I know. Well, I mean, I think the other things we want to talk about was not only taking the door off the hinges and taking off hinges, but also squeaky hinges. So I was assuming you would just spray WD-40.
Yeah. So just in general household, there's the PB blaster is a good one because that'll like knock your rust off any products. Doesn't have to be door hardware. You know, the WD-40 is a good household product to have around, and all you gotta do, the best thing if you've never done it before, just squirt it inside this chamber here and kind of move it around and let it work in. You know.
Cool.
And if it's still not going away, you can pop the hand out.
Okay.
You know, and then. But yeah, PB Blaster is another good product. There's a lot of silicone products for your garage door. If your garage door is kind of squeaking, there's garage door products that are specific for that.
Okay.
But those are heavier duty. Some of them leave like a silicone residue.
Okay. So you should always wear gloves and be careful when you're using that sometimes. Yeah. I think one thing that I really, so your child locks themselves in their room, and
you panic first.
I panic, but then I have gone through the emotion of sticking something in that lock, frustratingly trying to find a thing to pop, right? And it's difficult and frustrating. Are there any tricks, or is it really just a matter of getting it in the, do you know what I mean? Like,
I think it's just getting it, because you're probably not going after something that's real big.
Right.
So you got to get in there and find it.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, but I think that really those little pins that the carpenters leave on top of the doors are the best thing.
Right.
But the barbecue square is nice because I swear it goes right there. But you do got to feel it, because if you go in at an angle, it's not going to get it.
Right.
You got to go in there kind of right in the middle.
Yeah.
That's the noise it makes when it does it.
Yeah. No, it does. It pops, and I go on to.
And then you feel great because you were panicking.
I was.
But now the door is locked and your kid runs off.
Right. Like I got to the point where I actually took the whole thing off, trying to figure out how to do it, and my husband was like, just relax. I don't actually think that a kid was in the room. I think that the kid did it to be silly from the inside, then left, and I was like, oh. So I would never get that angry.
We have a whole other parenting series. It's kind of a comedy. If you're interested, we'll let you know after the end.
That's our late night show.
It's kind of serious, but I mean, yeah, it's kind of
all right,
serious.
cool. So that was kind of all we were going to talk about with interior doors, and so I have a good amount of notes here. Here we go. So we wanted to talk about exterior doors. And I think one of the big things we wanted to talk about was just to start off with, what are some ways to, just for break-ins? I mean, just. So
if you don't know how to do it, you can break into a house real fast.
Oh, gosh.
If you take your credit card and pop this one right here, right?
Oh, no.
And that's a reason.
But don't do that.
That's a reason to put the deadbolt on the exterior door.
Okay.
That's the reason I said that.
Right, okay.
And so the deadbolt, nobody can break in that manner.
Okay.
But then they break the glass next to it and come in that way. But we're not worried about break-ins because everybody's got surveillance cameras now. So.
And no one's leaving their house.
Well, that's also true.
Yeah.
You got to break your own self, man. But the deadbolt is that much better of a security than the standard exterior hardware. And I haven't seen so many houses in Northern Virginia but you get out in the country a little bit and everybody's a little bit more relaxed about the door hardware.
Right.
But definitely, plenty of doors only have the one on the exterior. You want that deadbolt on there. And if it doesn't have the hole bored in it, there's kits you can get to bore the hole. But you better be like a little confident before you go drilling holes in your door, especially your exterior door.
Yeah. So if you go too big,
there's a kit.
Okay.
So if you want to do it, if you've just been waiting to put a deadbolt in.
You're super excited.
Yep, there's a kit. It's a Milwaukee brand, same color as this one right here. And it's right over there in Home Depot or Lowe's. And you can buy your little hinge kit. And that's a good one to know, because maybe you got the new door and you got it on, but you haven't drilled the hardware out. There is a kit that's going to lay everything out just right where you want it to be.
Is it easy enough to install the chain as well?
Those just screw in on.
Those are just screw in on, okay. But those are obviously not as safe as the, not as much of a deadbolt, right? Or
no,
okay.
The deadbolts,
it's the most security thing.
Criminal or anything. I'm sure there's ways to break into a deadbolt too. I can't reveal.
We'll talk about that later. That's in a different series that's not affiliated with
Not
Moss.
with the children's
no,
series.
or the children, not the kids series. So if in line with that, I think also something I wanted to have you touch on was talking about the surveillance and the rings and the nests and that sort of thing.
That's an easier one to put in.
Yeah.
The hardest one about that one is to just read those instructions because there is a sequence on them, and if you don't follow the sequence,
right.
So I think the most important thing we could say is we lay all the parts out on the ground, and we get our instructions out,
right.
and we relax,
yeah,
and we have a glass of wine, and we think about it, and you read those instructions. Usually,
right.
it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, 7, 8, and so you follow.
That's
that.
a lot. That's a lot of instructions.
No, 8's not bad.
Okay.
Because
if it were 10, I'd be a little bit.
One of them's like open the box,
okay.
and you already did that. You're already out of sequence when you start.
That's
why we slow down.
All right, you're right. Patience. Yeah. All right. So those are pretty easy to install, which is nice.
Yeah.
And
they are, but the main part about those that's difficult isn't necessarily because they're going to hook right into your doorbell. If you don't have an active doorbell or a working doorbell,
right.
they're not going to work. So
okay.
if your doorbell's been broken for 10 years and it's not ringing, you need to get that fixed first before you just.
And we can do that with Moss.
Mm-hmm.
That's
pretty easy to fix.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But it has to be a working doorbell.
Okay.
That's the most important thing. But other than that, there's not a lot of hardware, I don't think, that we're doing. We're
know.
connecting those wires right
Right.
to the back of it, and then it's connected to your phone and your computer.
Yeah.
Instead
it's
of
pretty
your
cool.
Wi-Fi or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's more of a software situation, which is not my expertise at all.
That's great.
Did anybody see my phone?
Did I see your phone?
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, I'm like, I don't know where your phone is. I think something else we wanted to just touch on was painting.
Yeah.
Exterior doors.
Or interior doors.
Or interior doors, sure.
So I think the most important thing about, I'll give you a quick.
I'm gonna give you some space here.
I'll give you a quick painting.
Okay.
Kind of rundown. Primer always is good. Primer's always good. And the most important thing before you go, like let's say you're just doing your interior door, go ahead and take some 150 grit sandpaper or 220, and just go over the door and kind of knock it down because a lot of times the paint's gonna peel if you haven't gotten a little abrasive because it needs to have something to bond to.
Right.
And so don't just assume that you're going to paint a semi-gloss right over, especially down in Arlington because that's all that oil-based semi-gloss paints.
Okay.
Because you can't put the acrylic over the semi-gloss.
Oh, why?
It'll peel. That's what it is. You got to prime it.
Okay.
And so, and sometimes you got to prime it with the oil primer. But so if you have an old house, there's other rules, and that's where Norm Abram comes into play. For good reference, if you ever heard of him.
No.
And
Put
so,
that in the notes.
Okay, put that on the notes.
Note that, please.
This old house notes.
Oh.
And so, anyways, you're gonna want to buff it down, and honestly, that's your casing too. Like, let's say you're gonna paint your little living room, and you're gonna paint your doors. Go get your sandpaper and kind of knock it down, and get everything sanded down first. And really, that's gonna make your paint look 1,000 times better. A good paint coat has been sanded multiple times during the paint coat. So those painters that come in there and just roll those walls are not finishing your walls; they're just rolling paint on your walls. But if you were gonna do your walls right, you're gonna want to sand it down, and that's the first step in the finishing process. It looks a lot better. And so definitely knock it down. Now, if it's an exterior door and it's got a lot of like the polyurethane's all bad looking, right? Like it doesn't look like it's supposed to look, and it's been denied, love for a little while. Then you're gonna want to maybe even take an Orbital sander to it, or even take it off the hinges. Right?
Wow.
Those exterior doors need a little bit more work sometimes because the sun's working on them. It's gonna wear them out. If you got a front door that looks faded and nasty,
right?
That's the door you got to pay attention to.
Okay.
Now there are wooden exterior doors, and there's also fiberglass doors, and metal doors too.
Yeah.
And so each one of those might take a different coat of paint. So you just kind of want to double check that.
Yeah.
But typically most of your primers, I got this Kills 3 is a good primer. It's the one I like, and it's kind of a heavy. It does pretty good with stain blocking, and it does good with it kind of builds it up a little bit because you want to get that first coat built up and you sand it down. So if you're painting your exterior door, you want to go ahead and get your primer on there, and it's okay to let it dry at the hour that the can says, or it's okay to wait the next day.
Yeah.
Just let that primer sit on there real good and sand it down. I mean, I'll show you my quick trick, and I'm not even going to put any paint on there, but I'll show you how I do my.
Oh wait, I'm gonna stay out of the shot. No, I'm gonna give our safe distance here. I'm just gonna talk from outside here. A lot of times now when you buy paint, you can do the paint and primer in one.
Yes.
But do they offer that for exterior paint for doors nowadays?
But
or
it depends on. I think you put that primer on there.
Okay. Yeah.
I just kind of am old school on that one.
No.
The paint and primer one doesn't mean that your preparation on that surface,
Okay.
whether it's a wall or a door, you don't get to override that. Paint and primer doesn't mean easy. It just means it's got better grabbing capability than paint. And
Got
so
it.
Now, so anytime you come down to bare wood, you got to prime it, and anytime you come down to bare drywall or drywall mud compound, you got to prime it.
Right.
So those are the main two rules. So if you just have your semi-gloss on there, you don't have to prime it necessarily.
So if it's like just a builder's grade,
Yeah,
and you just want to paint it.
But if you're putting fresh drywall mud or spackle, or if you've sanded it down to wood, you want to get some primer on it.
Okay.
Otherwise, that paint's gonna, even if it's painting primer.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And another thing,
Oh.
keep your paint in the basement, not the garage, please.
For what purpose?
So it doesn't freeze.
Doesn't freeze.
Because we show up and we want to paint your pretty door with the code that's, you got that can down there for 6 years, but it's out there in the garage for 6 years. And
Does it keep that long in the basement?
Oh yeah, in the basement it will.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
But I'm not going to paint it, but I'll just show you my
okay.
little trick. I like to get my bucket, and this can, I like to get my little 2-gallon bucket, and I got a little, this is the way that they show me how to do it. And you pour so you don't paint out of your gallon, you paint out of your bucket. And I get my little roller when I'm doing my doors, and I roll it on first. And I don't roll it on first. I take my brush, which I was working earlier today, so I got some paint in it. And I start up top because it's going to work down, and I take my brush and I get inside all the pretty stuff first. And I kind of do 2 at a time. And then I take my roller and go over. But that's the tricky part about painting doors, because then that paint's going to start glooping down here in these corners.
Yeah.
So in this, you really kind of, thin coats are better. A couple thin coats are better than a couple thick coats. So you keep your brush nice but you can also paint too thick,
Yeah.
But painting's an easy one to go try. But I take my brush and I start in here, and then I take my roller and I work that area, and I try to follow the grain of the wood, right? So the grain here is going this way.
Right.
And the grain here is going this way.
Yeah.
I paint with the grain every time.
Okay.
But I roll and brush at the same time, because a lot of times when you're just brushing, unless you really are a seasoned, brusher,
Right.
like it's hard to get it all nice and consistent. It feels funny. It doesn't feel like the paint went on nice and even. So the roller gets the paint on nice and even first, then you brush it down to the smooth with the brush. And that's how you get all your casing and your doors.
So with painting, start from the top and work down, and for hinges, work from the bottom and go up.
Yes, it's that simple.
Yeah, that's simple. No, we're done. That's it. Drop the mic. I wasn't going to drop anything, actually.
Knock the door over.
Yeah.
It's all punk rock.
Right. So I think that one of the final things I'm going to talk about is door replacement. So people might want to, I don't even know how much a door, what's typical in this area? Do people have, like you said, there's fiberglass doors, there's wooden doors. What's typical and what's standard, I guess?
Well, let's just differentiate between interior and exterior.
Oh, okay, sure.
So, like, if you are going to switch your interior doors out, you're thinking about doing your interior doors to a different style. You're ready to go to the 2-panel door, the other pretty upgrade.
Right.
There is a difference between hollow core and solid doors.
Okay.
And so that doesn't mean that a solid door is all made out of wood.
Okay.
A lot of times they're a composite, but they're heavy and they're nice. And it does make a difference to put the heavier doors on if you're trying to upgrade,
Sure.
But a lot of times when you're switching away from this raised panel, this is the colonial style.
Sure.
And it's beautiful and I love them. But like
that's what I've got.
Yeah.
I
But sometimes we're changing it to flat, and a lot of times those flat panel doors are already solid doors anyway.
Okay.
But you should ask those questions: solid versus hollow.
Okay.
And sometimes it's 20% or whatever more, maybe more, but I'm not a salesperson. And
you could buy doors.
Yep.
At
you could
one
call
of the
TW Perry.
Okay.
And they could quote you doors.
Okay.
You could even probably go to Home Depot and they quote you doors, but TW Perry probably.
And then installation, though, a professional should do it, right? Like Moss, we have, because that's something really easily that one of our people can come do.
But remember, if it's the inside, you're getting slabs. So you're going to order. You want to measure your height and your width.
Okay.
And so your standard doors are 6'8". They're 80 inches.
Oh.
So most doors should be 80 inches. In your basement, you probably got a couple short ones in there. You want.
Okay.
Because it's just the ceilings are funny down there.
Yeah.
But standard height is 80.
Okay.
And then you measure your width, and it's going to be 24 inches, or 18 inches, or 30 inches, or 28 inches. There are only so many different door sizes.
I was like, wow.
We can put that on the feed at the end. We'll list them in order. And there's just, what I'm saying is there's only so many sizes.
Right.
There's not 25 inches.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And so if it's like 23 and 7/8, it's a 24.
24. Okay.
And but swapping them out's tricky. But that's a different show. We can swap out on a different show.
Yeah, or just give us a call and we'll have us come do it.
Now your exterior door, typically you're not going to replace just the slab.
Okay.
The interior doors, unless you're changing the casing too, the exterior doors you're probably going to order as a whole unit and pull out all the casing, interior and exterior, and plan on that to be a bigger project.
Okay.
Just because you want to weather seal it.
Right.
So like you're going to weather seal behind the casing,
Right.
not on the outside of it.
Okay.
So most of the time when you're ordering extra doors, even though the size is still the same, it's 36-inch front door, 32 or whatever, you know.
Cool.
So
Great.
that's,
I think that's wrapping up pretty much everything. I know that we want to make sure and do our drawing right now. So we will go ahead, and if you're online, we're going to do a random number drawing for everybody who pre-registered, and we'll make that post online. But while that's happening, I also do want to share that, if you've got some extra time on your hands and you want to do a craft, maybe now is a good time to think about a new wreath for your front door. Ryan, didn't you bring those crafts for us to do?
was that on my list?
Yeah, it was on your list.
I lost my phone.
This
Did
is
anybody
just
see my phone?
impossible. Well, if you
I
don't
got
have,
one more tip.
oh, you have another tip. Well, I'm just babbling on.
No.
I'm stretching. I'm doing this.
So
yes.
if you're going to paint a lot at your house, get your metal brush. And when you clean the paintbrush out, you can do it over your slop sink or take it outside.
Okay.
And you and the hose, and you just work that paint right out of the bristles
Right.
of that brush, and it keeps that brush nice and fresh. Because if you got those paintbrushes
Yeah.
you're kind of not excited about, but
Right.
you paid $14 for it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's because you didn't use your wire brush.
Oh.
That's a pro tip.
There's a tip. So yeah, I'm just joking about the wreath for the front door, but it could be a fun project. You could find some things around your house to decorate. It's springtime. We're all, we've got time on our hands to do arts and crafts with the kids. That might be fun. Actually, if you want to have remember to go back and view the video from Tuesday from the HandyPRO workshop that I did at my house with my son. You can make trivets, that sort of thing. And also, or think about supporting a small local business and buy a wreath. Someone might be selling them and making them to keep afloat during this time. It might be just a fun way to support. I did see a funny one today, though, how people were crafting at home with empty toilet paper rolls and making wreaths, and I thought that was really funny. So I'm actually, but don't do that. Don't show off how much toilet paper you have at your house, because it's not fair.
Or how many rolls you burned through.
Yeah. Spare a square.
I'm
Like
almost
take a
third
couple. Yeah, just
Third roll.
take. Wow, it's not bad. It's good.
Diana Donahue.
All right, so our winner is Diana Donahue. And if you are watching, hopefully, please go ahead and comment, and we will then get in touch with you for your prize, which is donated by Bro Vineyards. Thank you to Bro for donating a bottle of white, a bottle of red, and 2 wine tumblers. Diana, you'll be able to, once we get the information for you, Bro does have curbside pickup, or they will ship. So those are things. So we're just going to wait a minute to see if see if Diana's still on. Ryan, anything else? If you want to go ahead and start taking the door off the hinges, you can, but you don't have to.
I think I'm tired.
You think?
But I do want to say
We're
we got
good.
the Beach Boys coming, because I really feel like we're on one of those fundraiser shows.
Right.
Because there's this thing called regular TV
Uh-huh.
before the internet.
Right.
Do you remember that?
You mean when you just get up and change the channel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'd have
I'm older
these,
than you,
they'd
I
have
know.
these like things where they keep you watching the stuff you don't want to watch for like 24
Yeah.
hours,
Oh.
And like, what were those called again?
Infomercials?
The
Oh, the
telethons.
telethons. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is our telethon.
This is
And we got the Beach Boys coming in.
I also have a fun sombrero because I just want to make sure everybody we're trying to have a good time even in this circumstances that they are. Here we go. Look at us, fun for us. And I also was going to say we didn't have a wreath here in the office. I was saying you could even Cinco de Mayo's coming up. Maybe put a sombrero on your front door. Who knows? I don't know.
Put
That
some
could be
stuff
something
up.
fun to do. But and look at this. This is amazing. So yeah, here we are. Here I am. I just want to say. Thank you all for tuning in and to our first HandyPRO happy hour. And Ryan, dude, you're supposed to cheer. Oh, we can't really. We're not supposed to do. Oh, we can't do that.
That's
No.
the best thing
Here,
about it.
there
You
we
don't
go.
have to
There's no
wait
more
for the
hand-
toast. You just start.
So we just do
Just
this though.
do
So cheers to you. Cheers
for
to you
tuning
guys.
in.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Ryan, thank you for sharing all your knowledge with us. We're really appreciative of it. And stay tuned for our next series of workshops in a few weeks. If you have any comments or questions or thoughts about topics that you'd like to learn more about, Ryan would love to develop a full series of workshops, plus
I didn't know
parenting
that was
seminars.
part of the contract.
There it is. It's on that part of your rider that I wrote for you.
I didn't even sign that.
Oh, yes, you did.
How did my name get on it?
Oh, I figured
Where's
it
the
out.
Beach Boys and where's my phone?
It's a lot easier to spell than my name. So, no, the Beach Boys. We can sing too. No. Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up and say thank you and good night and have a great weekend, everybody. Cheers.